All right, welcome. Today, we're going to crack the code on SAP Sales and Distribution. But instead of just running through a list of questions, we're going to build a story around them. This is going to be your guide to really, truly mastering these concepts for that next big interview.
So, you ready to do more than just memorize a bunch of answers? Good. The whole point here is to really understand the why behind every single process so you can walk in there and explain it with total confidence.
Okay, so let's dive right in. To really build this story, we've got to start right at the beginning and lock down exactly what SAP SD is all about.
At its heart, SAP SD is basically the engine that drives the entire sales process. Think of it this way. It's the complete digital journey that kicks off the second a customer shows interest and doesn't stop until that product is in their hands. And, when you look at this list, you can see SD is so much more than just a simple sell button. It's this whole toolkit that handles everything, from the initial quotes and contracts all the way to managing returns and credits for pretty much any sales scenario you can think of. But here's the thing. Before you can sell a single item, the system needs a map of the company itself. We're talking about the organizational blueprint. And believe me, this is absolutely fundamental to how everything else works. Think of these 5 things like the company's family tree inside SAP. Each one has a specific job to do. You've got the sales organization, that's who's legally on the hook for the sale. Then there's the distribution channel. How are you selling? Is it wholesale, retail? And the division? That's basically your product line. You see how they all have to work together just to make one sale happen. And here, this is how you actually plug those pieces together in the system. Because see, it's not enough to just say they exist, you have to tell the system how they're connected. This path right here, for example, is how you tell SAP that a particular sales organization is going to use a specific channel, like retail stores, to sell its stuff. Okay, so our structure's in place. Now we can actually follow the customer's journey. Let's track a typical order from the moment it's created all the way through to delivery. So, a really key thing to get here is that the shipping location isn't just picked out of a hat. Nope. The system automatically figures it out using this exact formula. It looks at the customer's needs, what kind of product it is, and the plant it's coming from to pinpoint the one single correct shipping point. All right, let's talk about post-goods issue, or PGI. This is one of the most critical steps in the whole process. This is the moment the system says, okay, that product is no longer ours. It officially takes it out of your inventory. So why does that matter so much? Because PGI is the trigger for recognizing revenue over in the finance module. It's that vital link between logistics and the company's bottom line. It's basically the system shouting, hey, the package has left the building, and we can book the sale now. And listen up, because this is a classic interview question. You can't just hit undo on a PGI. Because it affects inventory and accounting, you have to do a formal reversal using this specific transaction code, VL09. It's all about creating a clear audit trail. The system's also super flexible when it comes to billing. So for like a huge construction project, you're going to use milestone billing, invoicing the client as you hit key stages. But for something simple like a monthly service subscription, you just use periodic billing and send the same invoice every single month. Okay, now for 2 special cases that look similar but are totally different. It all comes down to when the money changes hands. A rush order means get it there now, we'll bill you later. But a cash sale, that means get it there now and get paid now. Simple as that. Okay, but let's be real. In the real world, things don't always go according to plan, right? So what happens when a customer has an issue? Well, the system has clear-cut processes for that too. So this is something that trips people up all the time. Let's clear it up. A return order is for when a physical box is coming back to your warehouse. But a credit memo, that's all about the money. Maybe you overcharged a customer, or a product was a little damaged and you're giving them a discount. No goods are actually coming back. And the really important thing to get here is that you don't just poof, create a credit. It's a controlled 2-step process. Why? To stop mistakes and, fraud. First, you create a request to justify why you're giving the credit, and only after that gets approved do you create the actual credit memo that handles the money. All right, for this last section, let's kind of pull back the curtain and look under the hood at a really powerful technical concept that makes the whole SD module run so smoothly. Copy control is basically the magic that holds this whole process together. It's the thing that makes sure when you create a delivery from a sales order, all the important info, the customer, the products, the quantities, all of it gets copied over automatically. But why is this such a big deal? Well, it's all about data integrity. It prevents typos, it saves a massive amount of time, and it makes sure you have one consistent story from quote to invoice. And get this, it's not just some big on or off switch. You can fine-tune exactly what gets copied at 3 different levels of a document. This means you have some serious flexibility to control how data flows from, say, a sales order to a bill.
Okay, and this slide is a really high-value takeaway for you. You don't need to know hundreds of T-codes, but knowing the key ones shows you get the flow. VAO1 kicks off the whole journey, creating the sales order. VLO9 is your lifeline when things go wrong with a delivery, and VFO1 is where you handle the billing, including creating that credit memo we just talked about. These 3 tell the story: the beginning, a critical fix, and a financial endpoint.
So as we wrap this up, I want you to remember one thing. SAP SD isn't just about codes and configuration. At its absolute core, it's about being able to tell the story of the customer's journey, from their very first question to their final happy delivery. Understanding that story, well, that's how you're going to ace that interview.